Hello world, and yes, it's true. I lost not one, not two, but 3 sets of gear in one night. How does something like that happen? Well,
got a favor to ask. If you want to hear more stories like this one, go ahead, click that subscribe button.
I didn't hear no bell. Oh my God!
now on this particular night, I'm working for Premier Championship Wrestling, based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Now, these shows are predominantly performed in a bar, and I like to get to the venue early to make sure that everything's ready to go by the time the promoter shows up. And our locker room isn't usually available because it doubles as a banquet room for the venue, the hotel that hosts this bar. Now, we're bringing in the ring, we're moving tables and chairs, and usually standard procedure, and I've worked hundreds of events for PCW, just kind of throw your gear bag around and go about getting ready for the show.
I'll see you a little bit later. Oh my! No! There goes the bell!
So again, I've done this hundreds of times with PCW, and it's never been an issue.
And it's gone.
But this is the first time that I'm working my specific opponent tonight in one of my matches, who just so happens to be a notorious prankster. He likes to pull ribs on some of the boys. So I go on and ask him, and he flat out denies it. Had nothing to do with it, didn't see anything all night, didn't touch it. Okay, so I now have to move on and ask the rest of the locker room, and nobody has seen or heard a single thing. I've got 3 matches to plan on this night, so I've got a lot on my plate as is. This is a wrestling tour, so I've packed all 3 sets of gear that I own in that bag. And the fact that it's all missing is very disheartening and taking away a lot of attention that I should be focusing on putting together my matches. So we finally involve the venue security, and it's getting closer and closer to bell time, when finally, as I'm about to go out there, ta-da! Security pulls me back into their little headquarters. I see 6 to 8 monitors showing me all sorts of different camera angles, and they happen to find something interesting. We see this guy walk up to my bag, grab it, and wheel it right out of the venue like it's his own luggage. Flawlessly. Nobody would have batted an eye to it. Very disheartening. All my gear gone. Luckily, one of my great friends, Alex, pitched in with a set of gear he had never used before. I didn't have any wrestling boots, so I wrestled in shoes that night. We put together still the 3 matches that I had, one of them being against, of all people, Kenny Omega. So, I mean, there was a lot to go over that night. It's unfortunate. And the gear, unfortunately, that was lent to me was a little bit on the cheap side, and tore by the end of my 3rd match. It was completely useless by the end of things. Threw it in the trash. Sorry, Alex. But I didn't let that moment get me down. No. I still had 2 more shows to go on this wrestling tour, one of them being an Iron Man match coming up. So I still had a lot on my plate. In fact, I was promoting the last 2 of those shows. And speaking of promoting, if you really like that shirt, along with plenty other designs, exclusively designed by me, are all available on my Pro Wrestling Tees store. Please don't hesitate to go check it out. I will drop the link in the description for you if you are interested. But now, back to the story. So despite everything that happened on that crazy night, I did manage to get some sleep. And the show goes on. The very next day, I've got to head to an afternoon show that I am promoting, and it hits me. Not only is $700 worth of my wrestling gear gone forever, but my wedding ring was in that gear bag. And safe to say, my wife was right there in the driver's seat. Safe to say that she was not happy about that. So I continued to work the events regardless, and everything went off great. And then I followed the next week probably, searching online for any hints of a wedding ring that looked familiar, or some pants that nobody else would have had popping up, but nothing ever did appear, and I never got any of that stuff back. Now, could I have been upset? Absolutely. Should I have been angry? Without doubt, but I really wasn't. Did it suck? Yeah, it sucked, big time. But I didn't focus on it. I mean, it wasn't going to bring anything back. So instead, I sat back. We got a new wedding ring, by the way. But I sat back and decided how I was going to evolve the character's look and where I was going to take it. And while we were figuring that out, I did manage to get a new pair of boots. I was wrestling in jeans and some solid black pleather pants in the meantime. But without further ado, I did manage to find a new look, and this is it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the new tights. Is it an upgrade or downgrade from the old stuff? And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up if you liked the video to let people know it's worth watching. If you like this story, there's plenty more if you subscribe to my channel, as well as tons of matches, vlogs when I get back to wrestling, and if that's not enough, you can join the network. It's my Patreon with over 40 hours of categorized bonus content, from podcast appearances to unreleased matches, photos, and a ton of free merch to be had as well. I'll make sure to pin that in the comments if you're interested as well. So that's it for now. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the story. There's plenty more where that came from. And until next time, guys, if you want to keep in touch, the best way to do that is through Twitter at @IamJWalker. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now. Logging off.